if your space allows, try to set up parallel to my mat. So we'd be facing each other right now with the mat on either side. And if you would like to recline, then you would just turn to the left. And I'll just wait a moment in case any other people join in. Okay. Last little setup thing. If you would enjoy some very relaxing music that was designed to soothe the nervous system, we have a song recommendation that we've just sent to the chat box. So if you've got Spotify or Apple Music, you can just search for the song Weightless by Marconi Union and set it to loop. And I see a head nod, so I think that means Anjani knows and loves this song. I practice to it a lot because it's so soothing. Hi Sangeeta, so great to see you. And great to see everybody. All right, so let's begin. Like I said before, we'll start on our back. So if you're not already there, take a quarter turn to your left and just gently start to set yourself down, relaxing backward, melting towards the mat. And whatever is most comfortable for you, sometimes it's really nice to keep the legs extended, or sometimes it feels more supportive to bend the knees, place the soles of the feet to the mat, and just gently let the knees drop towards one another. So just choose what would be most comfortable. And the goal for this class today is to help us really relax, to soothe our nervous system so we can release physical tension, mental, emotional, energetic tension, and really create that space to receive the energy of the intensive straight to the heart. And so a very nice way to soothe the nervous system is with the breath. Let's just start by some full breaths to the belly. If you'd like to place your hands on the belly, you're welcome to, as long as that's comfortable in the shoulders and the elbows. And let the breath be very relaxed and very natural, so you don't feel any strain. You don't feel like you're trying to take a deep breath. You're just allowing the breath to gently fill towards the hands. And then the breath gently leaves the body and the top edge of the belly just melts in towards the back body. And if it feels inviting, try slowing the breath down without any strain, almost by just bringing more consciousness to it, more focus, and just let it smooth out and slow down. And as you continue to breathe in this smooth, supported way, notice the back of the body. And just see if you can allow the breath to expand not just the chest, not just the belly, but also the back of the ribs, the back of the heart, even the low back. And see if you can sense your physical body taking up space in your room and ever so gently expanding and relaxing. We'll just take a couple more breaths like this before we invite our movements. And if at any time anything that I cue doesn't feel good or doesn't feel like you can stay in this relaxed conscious space, try to modify so that you can breathe smoothly and fully and feel as relaxed and supported as possible. You can even come back to this position or any comfortable resting position if the body is craving it. So I will just guide you, but ultimately, please do anything that your body is craving. And so let's start. If your legs are extended, just gently start to walk them in towards the sits bones, not quite to a bridge setup, maybe about 6 inches to a foot beyond the sits bones. And then melt the arms down by the side so the fingertips reach towards the heels. Walk the feet out to the edges of the mat and ever so gently start to point the knees just about 10 degrees to the left and then 10 degrees to the right. And then slowly start to pulsate through this very small range of motion. And just like the breath, see if you can slow it down and smooth it out. And as you make these really gentle shifts, just notice the weight shifting in the feet. Notice the massage on the low back. And because you're controlling the movement and the knees aren't just dropping as far as they can to the side, you might even notice some very subtle, deep core musculature coming online in a really gentle yet supported way. So just bring the awareness to the abdominal area and just witness that gentle stabilizing that's occurring as you limit your movement. And then bring equal weight into the soles of both feet so the knees point upward, and let's explore the arms a little bit. So push the elbows into the mat, point the fingertips towards the ceiling, almost like you're like holding a box. Yeah. And then ever so gently let the fingers start to point out like a butterfly opening its wings, but the hands might not come very far. Let's limit this movement too, just like we did with the knees. And then point the fingers up, maybe in a little bit. And just take a few of these gentle butterfly flaps and see if you can feel the gentle massage on the back of the arms, maybe even the back of the shoulders. And try to tune into your breath as you do this. So you're simultaneously feeling the breath, but also feeling these gentle massaging movements. The next time the fingertips point upward, pause there, and we'll add the feet in. Walk the feet together to touch. We're not going into a full Baddha Konasana. You can probably guess that we'll be going into a very small Baddha Konasana. And so the next time the hands gently start to open, let the knees open just a few degrees, and it actually takes more core strength to open less. And then as you exhale, point knees and fingertips up towards the sky. Let your breath generate this movement. So with each inhale, feel the whole body expand, and let the knees and fingertips almost express that expansion. And then exhale, let everything draw towards center. And I'll turn a little bit so you can see the angle of my arms and my knees. So every inhale you open, and every exhale you gently hug towards center, and see if you can tune in to the deep, subtle core, waking up and stabilizing you. And we'll just take a couple more. And the next time everything's at center, reach the feet up towards the sky. A bend in the knees is just fine if that's comfortable. Reach the hands up towards the sky. Imagine your arms and legs like jello and give them a really slow jiggle. Yeah. And just imagine any tension, physical, mental, emotional, energetic, just rolling off of you like boulders. Just kick it loose, let it shake out. If you want to shake a little faster, you can, but just make sure you're staying tuned into the breath and that everything you're doing feels calming and supportive. Okay, from here, set the feet down, set the arms down, and ever so gently start to lift one foot at a time. And as you lift the foot, the shin will come parallel to the sky. And see again if you can feel those deep core muscles turning on to prevent that little side to side tilt as one foot lifts. The tilt in the pelvis, you're just trying to keep the pelvis neutral, and that actually takes some coordination and strength. You guys look amazing. You're moving so slowly and consciously. You are ready for this intensive. And then next time the right foot hovers, reach the arms up towards the sky and start to compress the thigh into the body so the thigh squeezes in, and then just lift the body towards the thigh any amount that feels accessible. And then release back to where the hands are up to the ceiling, the head is down, and the shin is parallel. And just take some of these compressive pulses, and they can be really small. You don't want any tension in the neck. And start to sync the breath. So on your exhale, gently lift, and on your inhale, gently release. And as it feels comfortable, you can allow the leg to extend a little further forward and allow the arms to extend a little further back. And so the range of motion gets bigger, but you still have that nice moment of compression at the center. Imagine your limbs anchoring into that center, controlled and supported by your deep core muscles. And the next time everything lengthens out, let the arms rest overhead, let the legs slowly lower, and push into the left foot so that you can gently roll onto the right side of the body. Hello. Feel free to support yourself with the top arm, or for an extra challenge, keep it hovering and play with bringing the left leg to meet the right, but keep a little space. We've got a little fun core work on the side, so it's okay if you're jiggling a little bit. And then let's all rest the head down, place the left hand in front of you, and bend the knees just a little bit so it's easy to rest here. And let's massage the right side of the body. And so ever so gently roll forward and then roll back. And check in with the right shoulder. Sometimes this is intense for that arm, so feel free to bend the arm or point the fingertips forward a little bit, just whatever would feel more comfortable on that shoulder, so you can really rest and relax and get a little massage from the floor here. And we'll just take a couple more moments on our own, so just connect with the breath and imagine the body in a semi-solid state, just oozing and dripping towards the floor, releasing any tension, any tightness. And the next time you roll back, pause, let the legs extend, and then just bend the left knee, place the sole of the left foot behind you, and ever so gently try to control your way back onto your back. So there is a little bit of pushing into that left foot, so you've got control. Drag the right foot in to meet the left, reach the hands towards the heels, and take a nice, easy, slow motion bridge pose before we go to the other side. If it feels good to pause at the top, you can. Otherwise, you can take a couple of pulses, just melting the spine down and then slowly lifting the hips. Try pushing gently into the shoulders and reaching the hands towards the heels for a little bit of buoyancy. And then the next time your hips are down, let's pause there and we'll go through that same sequence on the other side. So let's start with just marching our feet out a little bit. If you want a little bit more here, instead of keeping the knees bent, you can allow the leg to unfurl any amount. So if that feels okay on the hamstrings, feel free to try it. And then choose whatever is most interesting yet supported in your body. The next time the left leg is up, pause there, bend the left knee, reach the arms up towards the sky, and start to compress the thigh into the body, and then let the body rise up to meet the thigh. And then release down. And just take a couple of those compressions. Sync them with your breath. Nice, slow, smooth exhale to lift. And then as you'd like, you can start to extend the arms and legs little by little away from one another as you recline. So you're just exploring a larger range of motion as long as it doesn't create any tension in the hip. You know we've got to keep our hips happy this weekend. The next time everything lengthens out, set the foot down, reaching it out, set the arms down, and now we'll be rolling away from the screen, just like we did before, but on the other side. So push into the right foot, very slowly roll onto the left side. Pause here for just a little stabilization and see if you can hover the right foot over the left. And then bend the knees a little bit, let the head rest on the bottom arm, and place the right hand in front of you so you feel supported. Take a moment to check in with your left shoulder and make any adjustments that would allow that left shoulder to relax more. So try pointing the arm forward, bend the elbow, and then we'll just take our gentle rocks. And it might just be a centimeter forward and back, or maybe you would like a larger range of movement. It's totally up to you, but just make sure you're feeling as you roll. It's not about the movement, it's about the witnessing of the movement. Let this practice help you become more and more conscious as it soothes the physical body. Let the mind be soothed. Let everything go beyond your breath and your body in this moment. And we'll just take one last roll and then extend the legs. Bend just the top knee. Slowly let the right foot come to the mat so you can roll onto the back where you came from. And then drag the left foot in to meet the right. We'll take one more bridge pose here. So reach fingertips towards the heels. We'll take a couple of pulses just to lift the hips, check in with the knees and the feet, and then set the hips down and give yourself permission to adjust the feet. And just take a couple of slow motion pulses like that so you can find the place where the knees feel the most supported. I find sometimes I need to walk my feet a little bit further forward and a little bit wider, so feel free to try that. And then imagine your spine like a Rudraksha mala, and imagine you're lifting up just one mala bead at a time, and the rest just lays draped on your yoga mat until it's time to lift. And then set that mala down, one Rudraksha at a time, and just feel the articulation of each vertebra. And then see if you can sync that with your breath, ever so gently inhaling to lift. And if you want to go slower than one breath flow, that's totally fine. Take as many breaths as you'd like. If your body is craving stillness, You can pause at the top, but really try to see what the body wants right now, and don't just assume what you always do is what your body actually wants. The next time you set your mala down, feel the sacrum gently press towards the earth. Bend the elbows so the fingertips point towards the sky, and tuck the chin just a little bit so the back of the neck lengthens. Push down into the elbows, down into the shoulders, and down into the base of the skull. And just let that space expand and open. You can even gently press the middle of the back down. These are all the connection points of the trapezius muscle, which is often really tight. So we'll just take a couple of breaths, pushing into those points, elbows, shoulders, base of skull, middle of back. Slow, steady breath, and don't push too hard. We want to work with our bodies. We want the nervous system to stay relaxed. That's when we can really release tension. And then curl the legs into the body, grab behind the thighs, and take as many rocks and rolls as you would like. If it feels good, take some extra. We will meet at seated with the soles of the feet on the floor, but no rush getting there. Hi. Nice to see your faces. And so from here, let's take a moment to walk out the hands behind us. And if you have sensitive wrists, it's okay to do fists here, or just move very gingerly so you don't bring a lot of weight into the wrist. And you're just gently shifting the weight from side to side and push down into the hands so you get a little bit of feedback in the shoulders. Right, and so you can feel the shoulders gently stabilizing on the back. And then pause at center. Point the fingertips in any direction that allows the wrists to feel as comfortable as possible. And then ever so gently drag the hands back. They're not actually going to move, but pretend you're dragging them back. And notice if you can just lengthen the spine a little bit as you do that. And then release that action so you soften. Option to hover the knees and curl in. And then set the feet down and drag the hands back to lengthen. And now you'll move at your own breath, exhaling as you curl in towards the legs and inhaling as you drag the hands back. But don't follow what I'm doing. Follow the pulsation of your breath. And if you feel really supported here, it is okay to lift the hips a little as the hands drag back. But that's not for everyone. So really honor what the body wants. Each time you lift the legs, make sure the hips are staying relaxed and let the core do the lifting. And the next time you set the hips down, walk the soles of the feet together, stay reclined towards the hands, and just take one of those gentle butterfly flaps where you don't go to your end range, and then bring it on up. And so now again with your own breath, inhaling to open. Exhale as you draw the legs back to center. See if you can feel that action helping you get a little length in the spine. And so as the legs pull towards center, maybe you can feel those deep core muscles stabilizing the hips, also stabilizing the spine and allowing you to lengthen. The next time the knees point towards the ceiling, cross the left ankle in front of the right and sit upright so you don't have to use your hands anymore. We'll play with a fun transition. Be patient if you haven't done this before. Place the right hand behind you. I'm going to demo it first. We're very slowly going to pivot to the right and place the left hand down so we're in tabletop. facing the other direction. Nice, Anjani, you know that one. Great, Ashley. And if that was really challenging, we'll just meet in tabletop. Yes, Patricia, you got it. Awesome. And so from tabletop, paw out the mat a little bit with the hands. And then let's give our wrists a break. So send the hips towards the heels. Tuck the toes under so you can give your feet a little bit of a massage here, just circling the hips around the heels. And you don't want it to feel intense in the bottom of the feet, so that might mean it looks like you're more in table, or maybe pushing back towards Bhaktasana feels really nice on the feet. Take a moment to say hello to your feet. And then flatten the tops of the feet down. Press into the hands and just take one moment to rest. Melt the forehead and gently rock. Forehead side to side. And just notice how you can push into one hand to gently initiate this movement, and the rest of the body ever so subtly pushes from side to side. And then pause at center and shift your awareness down to your pelvis. And with the pelvis resting on the heels, let one vertebra start to stack on the previous. You can walk the hands in to support you, and we're just slowly rolling up, but use as much support as you need so there's no tension, especially in the low back and the neck. And then once you arrive with the weight on the heels, push down into the shins so you can rise up to kneeling. We're going to do some kneeling chairs. So take a moment to make sure the feet are parallel so that the thigh bones are pointed forward, and then start to crease at the hips, sending them towards the heels any amount. Try pushing down into the feet as you do this, and just notice how it stimulates the muscles in the legs. You can continue like this, or you can add the arms in as the hips sink back. Sweep the arms forward and up. And then as the hips rise, let the arms melt down. Nice. Hey, I can see you now, Kat. Take a few of these on your own, and at any time, you can sync the movement to your own breath. It doesn't need to be the way I suggest it, but if you'd like to exhale into the hip crease and inhale to float up, you're welcome to. Ashley, that looks so nice. I can see that control through your spine. Hi, Mukti. So we are moving towards Anjaneyasana with the right foot forward. And there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can just come up to kneeling and step the foot forward, or if you feel up for it, the next time you're in your kneeling chair, you can use that momentum. So as you push down into the shins to send the hip forward, just step the right foot forward and just notice how it naturally goes with you. Yeah, nice. You can play with that a couple of times if you feel like, oh, okay, that's what she means. Nice. And then let's all meet with the right foot forward. Awesome. So we're in a 90-90 lunge, so it's shorter than you're probably used to in Anjaneyasana. And we really, this is great because it allows the hips to relax, and it allows us to stay in the parasympathetic nervous system. So keep it short. And then start to melt the hands down. Walk the right foot over to the right so you've got a lot of space. So it's a little different than you might be used to. And now imagine you've got a quarter underneath your right heel, and you're just circling the weight of the heel around that quarter. And so pretty small movements, but notice how shifting the weight changes the whole rest of the body. You might feel the hips circle. You might notice some changes in where the upper body is. And we want this to be really, really gentle. We're not going for a stretch sensation. We're rather finding a lot of support in the pelvis, and we're letting those often tight muscles just feel stimulated in a gentle way. And then go the opposite direction. And if you want a little bit more here, you can imagine there's also a quarter under the back knee that you're circling, and that can make it just a little more full-bodied. Make sure the front knee feels supported. If you're really pushing into that quarter, the knee should stay supported, but you can also inch that right foot forward a little further so that the knee is closer to stacking with the heel. And then come to center, and two options here. You can either place the right hand on the thigh to push up with support, or if you feel supported, you can slowly push down into the legs and let the spine roll up one vertebra at a time and scoop the air up and let the whole front of the body lengthen. And then gently melt forward just a couple of inches and scoop everything up again. And if it feels good to go further, you can shift the hips back and extend the front leg, but you don't have to, right? This is your own practice. If you want to sync this with your breath, you can gently exhale to melt and inhale to fill and expand in every direction, especially that front of the body. And the next time you're upright, pause there and let the arms float a little wider so you just have this nice ease in the shoulders, and start to make some big circles with that back knee. So the knee stays planted, but it's just circling on that invisible quarter. And notice how the whole rest of the body follows. And if that's not comfortable on the back knee, feel free to fold over your yoga mat so you just get a little extra support. We never want pain. And then one last moment here, push down into the legs, let the whole front of the body expand. If it's comfortable, you can take a full breath. And then gently side bend over to the right. So drop the right hand and let the whole left side of the body lengthen. Push down into the left knee and try to feel how that whole left side of the body is connected, from the knee to the hip, to the ribs, to the left armpit, all the way up to the fingers. Take one breath. And then gently start to hover the right arm and then set it back down. So just take a couple of pulses with the right arm and just notice what that activates in the body in a subtle way. And the next time the arms are up, pause there, flatten the top of the back foot, shift the weight back a little, and then just bring the right knee to meet the left. Melt the arms down, and if it's comfortable, interlace the hands at the low back and ever so gently allow the knuckles to pull down, allow the shoulder blades to melt down the back. Take a couple of breaths. And then bring the hands to the low back, and we're not going into a camel, but we're just going to breathe into the front of the body and just let the front of the body lengthen a little bit. And then come back to center and tuck the toes under, keep the hands at the low back, and slowly curl forward, tuck the chin in. Option to keep the head hovering, or to bring the tiniest amount of weight into the head. You can stay right here, or you can push down into the shins, curling up. Option to reach the knuckles back or clasp opposite elbows or grab onto the heels for more support. And then place the hands to either side of the knees. Gently press into the hands to come back to seated on the heels. And we'll get ready for our lunges on the other side. So push down into the legs, floating up to kneel. We're going back to our kneeling chairs. On the first round, we did the toes flat. I find this helps me get a little more support on the front of the body as I push down into the feet. So feel free to try that again. And then if you want to play with momentum, as the hips shift forward, let the left foot step right with it. And feel free to try that a couple of times if it was fun for you. Walk the left foot over to the left. Remember, we're in that shorter lunge. And melt the upper body inside of the left foot. And wiggle around. Maybe the right knee moves back or to the right. Make sure you feel like you have enough space and you can really soften here. And then visualize that quarter under the heel and just make some gentle circles. Connect with your breath here. And try keeping the big toe down as you make these circles. That will wake up a lot of very important muscles in your feet that will help us stand up later. Go the opposite direction if you haven't already. And remember, you can always have a quarter under the back knee too, if that helps you get some bigger, more interesting movements, as long as they feel soothing and nourishing. And then come to center. You can either bring left hand to thigh to push up, or you can push down into the legs to slowly roll up one vertebra at a time without any strain anywhere. So support yourself if you need to. And then scoop the air up, letting the front of the body lengthen. And melt the arms down, just tipping forward just a little bit. And then play between those two shapes, lifting and lengthening on your inhale and exhaling to melt. If you want to go deeper, you can kick into the front leg, letting it extend, and you can reach the hips back, just like in our kneeling chair pose. Yeah, or add anything on that the body is craving. And try to feel the whole body moving in unison. So you don't notice it like just at the hips or just at the shoulders, but you're able to observe your entire physical being flowing in harmony. Just a vessel for prana and shakti to flow through you. And the next time you're up, pause there, drop the left arm and push down into the right knee so you can gently reach over to the right. Add in those arm pulses and just notice how lifting that bottom arm changes what's happening on that left side of the body, or maybe even beyond. If you want to pause at any time, you can. And then let's all lift to neutral. And instead of stepping the foot back, let's step forward so we can finally come to standing. So I recommend melting the hands down, tucking the back toes, hovering the back knees, and take a couple of bounces, right? Springing into that back leg so you can feel the momentum shift you into the left foot. And when it feels right, step the right foot forward, bend the knees deeply. Nice. Great job, everybody. Deep knee bend, melt the head, and then just gently sway the hips from side to side, and then start to walk the hands up the legs, slowly supporting your way up. And when you land at the top, make any adjustments with the feet so you feel supported, and then just pause. And imagine that exercise that we started with, laying on the back and breathing. Take a few of those deep, full 3D breaths on your own, just feeling the chest, the belly, the back of the heart, back of the ribs, just expanding. Okay, we'll do a little bit of standing together. So imagine you've got two really big, heavy rubber bands wrapped around the ankles. Grab onto them, push down into the feet, and slowly start to stretch the rubber bands forward and up, and feel that resistance as you lengthen the whole front of the body. Nice. And then let that resistance start to pull you forward into just a little forward fold. And let the hands just sweep behind you. And then we'll do it again. So grab the rubber bands, push into the feet, and then reach those really taut rubber bands in front of you, so there's a lot of resistance as you lengthen and reach up. And this should feel very supportive. Don't worry about going very far. And just take a couple of these pulses on your own, letting the front of the body really support you as you bend back. You shouldn't feel anything in the low back or the neck here. It should feel really easy. So if there's any strain, don't go back as far. And the next time you grab the rubber bands, you'll stretch up, but instead of folding forward, let the left knee start to hover as the hands come back down. And pause for a moment, and you can always set the foot down. Pause here if you can. Find your drishti. Just make some little circles with the ankle. And then ever so gently extend the left leg forward. Bend the right knee a couple of times. Bring the weight into the right heel so you feel supported. And then start to drag the left foot back as you reach the arms forward. We're heading towards Virabhadrasana 1. And so when you find a good stopping place for the foot, look back, make sure the toes are mostly forward. You're welcome to walk the right foot over to the right so you feel really spacious and supported. And just extend that right leg so you can take a little break. And then similar to the movements we've been doing, we'll take some pulses here, ever so gently bending the right knee and scooping the air up, letting the front of the body open. And then as the front leg extends, let the arms just melt down. You can even like crumble the hands and just imagine all this tension releasing from the body. Take a few on your own. And depending on your body and this moment, maybe your movements are so tiny that it looks like you're holding the pose. That's fine, that's perfect. Maybe you're enjoying a bigger range of motion. Make sure you're letting your decision come from what feels best. And the next time you're reaching up, melt the right arm down and just lengthen through the left side of the body, just like we did in Anjaneyasana. And then push into the feet to rise back up. Shift the weight towards the front foot. Feel the weight in the front heel. Option to pause for a moment with the back leg lifted, and we'll all meet eventually in Tadasana, stepping forward, but you can hold that as long as it's comfortable. And then once you've arrived in Tadasana, just take a moment, connect with the breath, and just notice the sensation on the right side of the body after that work. Let the breath pull you into the present moment. We'll prepare to repeat that on the second side. So grab those invisible rubber bands, anchor the heels down, gently start to stretch those rubber bands forward and up, letting the whole front of the body lengthen with a little bit of resistance, and think more up and open. And then slowly start to fold forward. Let the hands sweep behind you. Take one more like that, and then we'll play with floating the right leg. So the next time you reach up into that rubber band back bend, shift the weight into the left foot. Let the right knee lift as the hands come down. Find your drishti. It's okay if you need to put the right foot down at any time. If it's comfortable, make some circles with that right ankle. And then point the right foot, set the toes down in front of you, bend the left knee, bring the weight into the left foot so that left leg is supporting you with no strain in the knee, and start to glide the right foot back as the arms stretch and reach forward. Set the foot down. Give yourself permission to walk the left foot forward. Try to keep the hips forward and make sure the knee and ankles feel supported. And then we'll pulse here. So bend into the front knee and scoop the air up, letting the whole front of the body open. And then extend both legs and let the arms float down. If you want to sync this with your breath, you can inhale in Virabhadrasana 1 and exhale to melt. Nice. Hi, Darcy. Welcome. And the next time the legs straighten, pause there, sweep the arms up, and now push into the right foot, letting the whole right side of the body open so you can just take that side bend. And we don't want any compression, so it's like you're reaching up and over. You might not go very far, and that's fine. This is really nice for that right hip. And then push into the left foot, coming back to center. Melt the arms down, shift the weight into the front foot, and spring forward into your Tadasana. This is our last moment standing, so pause with the feet underneath you. Feel free to close the eyes. If you'd like to add in a tree pose, you're welcome to. Otherwise, just take a moment to breathe in Tadasana and just feel the support of your physical body and then the inner support of your breath, of the Shakti, of your practice. To make our way down to the ground, we'll grab those invisible rubber bands again. Start to pull and stretch and reach them forward, letting the whole front of the body lengthen. If you want to go a little bit further because it's been feeling really supported and your body's craving that, you can, but you don't have to. And this time, as you fold forward, bend the knees deeply. Let yourself melt all the way forward. Bend the knees as deeply as you need to set the hands down. And then gently set one knee down at a time. And then flatten the feet, walk the hands forward, one hand print, and start to push into the hands. And as you push into the hands, feel the hips reaching back. Let the shoulders stay with the arms so the rib cage slides underneath the shoulders, reaching towards the heels. And then push down into the shins, round the spine into the air like cat pose. You're a little bit longer than a tabletop. Roll forward until the shoulders are over the wrists. And then once shoulders are over the wrists, gently pull the hands back and wide, letting the front of the body open for a glorified cow. So you're in a back bend. And then press the hips back again. And same thing. Let the rib cage reach back towards the heels as the shoulders stay with the arms. So you feel that little bit of gliding between the shoulders and the ribs. And then spider fingers, walk the hands in, slowly coming to kneeling. And I'm going to turn so that you can see me better. Feel free to turn too. Shift the weight over to the left. Bring the right hand to the left knee and tent the fingers behind you. Gently push down into the back hand so you can feel how the shoulder connects with the rib cage. And with your breath, exhale and slowly twist one vertebra at a time to the left. Option to gaze to the left. And you're welcome to hold. If you'd like to pulse here, notice how the inhale naturally pulls you out just a little bit as the body expands. And then exhale to re-enter the twist. Totally up to you. And then on your exhale, come to center. Shift the weight back onto the heels and then over the other way. You know what we're doing, so you can go at your own pace. You can add anything on that the body's craving. Just move slowly and consciously and let your breath really anchor you into your body. Notice how even if you're holding the pose, the inhale affects your movement. It expands and brings you out of it ever so gently. And then the exhale as everything hugs towards the midline. You might notice you have a little more space for your twist. On your next exhale, gently let your core pull you to center with ease. Extend the legs in front of you and just shift from side to side. If it feels okay on the hands, you can place one hand down and let the other side lengthen. And then come back to center. Bring the soles of the feet together just like we did earlier. And very gently allow the hips to open. And try to avoid going to your end range so that there's this sense of still being able to control what's happening on the hips. If you liked those pulses that we did before, you're welcome to pulse. You're also welcome to make some little circles with the body, just exploring the articulation of the pelvis and the thigh bones. Go the opposite direction if you're circling. And then turn so you've got some real estate on your mat in front of you and behind you. And with legs bent or extended, whatever is most comfortable for you, make your way down onto your back. Extend the legs for just a moment. If you are following along with our soothing song, you can pause it now. And just notice the body contacting the mat. Notice if there's anything that you're craving. You could come into one more bridge pose. You could take a gentle twist. Feel free to roll onto the side and just massage the side body like we did at the beginning. Or allow yourself to rest in stillness. And wherever you are, regardless of whether you're exploring movement or shavasana, let your breath be a source of deep nourishment. Imagine each natural breath that you witness, you are harmonizing with Babaji's Shakti. You're attuning yourself to the whole Sangha. And every exhale, you're just marinating in that frequency. And it's up to you to consciously focus on the breath or to release completely and just trust the work that you've done and allow it to nourish you as you let go. We'll stay here resting for the remainder of our time. You're welcome to stay here a little longer. You're also welcome to make gentle movements and connect with your breath as you float back up to seated. Well, for those of us sitting, we'll meet with our hands at the heart. And just take a couple of natural breaths and just feel the awareness you've built through your conscious yoga practice. And then ever so gently smile and notice how that uplifts you from the inside out. Thank you so much for practicing. Have an amazing, intensive weekend. Hopefully, I'll see you guys again tomorrow for yoga. Aloha. The next class is in an hour and a half, so 6:30 to 7:30 Mountain Time. It's with Baba, so it's always good to get there super, super extra early and enjoy the rest of your time. See you, Mukti. See you, Kat. Bye, Anjani. Bye, Sangeeta. Bye, Anju and Darcy, Annapurna. And so nice to meet you, Ashley and Patricia. Take care. Hi, Mukti. So fun to practice with you.